Let's talk about relationships, Becky, because you cover it in actually both books.
Yes.
And the second book, Intuitive Lovers, perhaps to a greater extent.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that Eckhart Tolle talks about relationships as well, and he says, I think, forgive me if I haven't got it quite right, but I think he says something like, all relationships are flawed and dysfunctional. until we've dealt with the pain body, which you spoke about the other night, and we come into the present moment. So we live as now. Now, what's your feeling about that?
Absolutely, because every relationship will trigger you into pain body reactions. So, you know, and actually that's great, because then they're our greatest learning tool to actually help undo the pain body. So, you know, really in a way, they are the opportunity for you to see where you are within your emotional context. So they're
pulling the string to unravel us, is that?
Absolutely. Yeah. But therefore then we should be really grateful for all of the triggering that they're doing, rather than say you have to stop acting like this. We need to enter into a different form of dialogue with them, so that we can enter into a different form of communication, which is, I mean, in the book is split into different parts, but the three major parts is, you know, the physical love. I do believe that in a one-night stand you can be totally in love with the person you're sleeping with, you know, but the love that you're feeling can be brought out in many different ways, but the physical chemicals that you're getting in the brain when you're into that connection, but also as well when you're connected with someone in that way, you are witnessing God through them, and that can just be someone you've just met. It doesn't have to be, you know, because I think that we've got this structure in our head that we can't get connected to people in a short space of time, and I disagree. I think you can. So there's the meeting, the dating aspect in the book, which I call physical love. Then there's the emotional love, which is what Eckhart's talking about there, really, which is an exchange.
Yes.
I'll give you this, and you give me that, and if you don't give me as much as I'm giving you, then you're bad. So even to the point where we think, I'm going to overgive to you and create relationship insurance so you won't leave me. So, and then if you don't give me back what I wanted, then I'm going to get resentful because I've overgiven to you to create the insurance, and now you're not insuring me by sticking around. This isn't fair.
Catch-22.
So then the relationship becomes triggered on the pain body level. Then the final part of the, well, it's not really the final part of the book itself, but the next chunk is conscious love. It's about how to be able to actually enter into an obvious dialogue listening on a stage 3 level, where you're really listening to what your partner is really saying, but beyond what your partner is saying. So in other words, if I'm saying to my partner, I don't trust you, I think you're going to have an affair, you know, and I think you're a rat bag, am I really talking about you, or am I really talking about my past experience that I'm projecting onto you?
Yes.
And so, you know, and then when you're saying that's not true, are you coming from that's not true until it is true? It's not true right now, but in the future that might be true. You know, so it's really being able to look beyond the words in which someone is saying to you and know them on a much, much deeper level. The downside of that is it stops the polarity in the bedroom. So because when we become like brother and sister and each other's coach and cheerleader and best friend and all of those things, we don't fancy each other in the bedroom. So the last part of the book is all about kink. Is to try and be able to say, well, you know, is kink spiritual? Is it just ego gratification? Where does kink come from? Because kink, in a sense, especially dominant and submissive way of looking at those things, is literally is a practical application of the masculine energy, the doing, fixing, sorting, achieving, to the passive stillness and being energy of the feminine. Now, a man or a woman, or in any kind of relationship, whether it's same-sex relationships, can play masculine, feminine roles. But that's the only thing that will keep a sex life alive for your entire relationship. Because when you have partnership, which works wonderfully for bringing kids into the world, and so very, very important, you won't fancy each other. It's just, the better the partnership, the more likely that you won't want to have sex with each other. So you have to keep a polarity. So I've really wanted in the book to challenge people's judgments, so that they can enter into thoughts that perhaps they wouldn't have looked at before, to say, what else turns me on? What else can I play here? What role can I be here? how can I stretch myself to be able to still be able to have a physical relationship, so that it's not just, oh, we're all about growth and spirituality and consciousness. Yeah, but sometimes we really want to get laid, you know, so it's got to have that, you know, because otherwise we're going to start seeking romantic love and physical love outside of this lovely connection that you've got with this person, and make assumptions about yourself not being a good person because you can't sustain it. But there's ways in which you can sustain it and be that real, genuine, connected life partner with somebody, but not lose the sex side. So that's why the book's so complex with all of those issues, because it's like, great, you do that, but the side effect of it sucks. So we just actually have to do that and deal with the fact that there's going to be a side effect.
Yes, I see.
And so that you don't lose both things in the relationship. So important.
So you would say, and I think a lot of people say this, that it's better to have a relationship, whatever that relationship is, than to be, you know, sitting at home alone in your room until Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, Miss Right turns up, right?
I believe in the right one for right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a right one for right now.
Yeah, no, okay.
And it doesn't, and I think we really, for me, I think I would have so many more happier clients if they let go of the idea of, is it going to work out?
Yes.
And I said, well, what is working out?
Yes.
Oh, well, are we going to stay together in the future? Yeah, you might, and you'd be thoroughly miserable. You know, ultimately, they're not asking the question, am I going to be happy? They're asking, is it going to work out? And it's like, well, if work out is longevity, you won't know until you're 85. And by then, it's like you're constantly going to be living in this doubt. And again, and this is why I love Eckhart, because that in itself is you're constantly looking at the longevity of the relationship, not the quality of the relationship.
Yes.
So I'd much prefer, in a sense, to have fantastic, incredibly connected, wonderful, loving relationships that don't last than one very long relationship in which I'm miserable. So I think that we close down to love when we believe that it's all about meeting the right person.
Yes, quite.
We just shut down, and then we don't meet anyone, and then we wonder why we're single for ages and ages. Yeah. And certainly for women who are getting to a point in their life where, you know, that they're getting, it's later and later trying to meet someone because they've got in their head what they want, and they're not taking what shows up and working with it. No one is perfect for you. You have to work with somebody. You have to set out your cart. You have to go for the testing zones. You have to make it all work in those ways. And then eventually you work together. But a soulmate takes years to create. It is not something you just know. That instant, oh my God, I've got this thing about this person, is usually a chemical reaction, because his smell is Mother Nature telling you that he's the right guy for the child that you're wanting to bear. And sometimes it's past life stuff. But the soulmate connection is usually on a very primeval kind of, you know, back into the caveman level. And of course it's addictive, and we get addicted to that. But it must be right, but it must be right. And we keep chasing this one person and can use... I've had people come and see me and say, I want to know if this guy's going to come back to me. This is like, you know, I don't do future predictions. I said, but you haven't seen him for 2 years. Yeah. But is he going to come back? No.